we can move on to the other comments. Or Osama's got some. I don't see Tom as being either side. He's pro-life and pro-Antifa, who would try to destroy him for being pro-life. He's on his own side. Both sides will believe he's on the opposite side. That is one thing, Tom, is you're kind of, I don't know, is it the No True Scotsman? I'm not quite sure which one it is, where you're just kind of like, oh, since I'm a little bit of both, I'll be accepted by everyone, right? That's what happened, right, Tom?
Tom, real quick, what's it going to take? What does Antifa have to do before you say done? Like I'm not an Antifa. I'm not going to go as far as other commenters have as calling you an apologist, but like where's the line drawn?
My entire argument when it comes to Antifa is saying just because I call myself Antifa does not mean that I have anything to do with everybody else. That's been my whole argument the whole time. So they can do whatever. I will continue to condemn them, and what they do has nothing to do with me.
Okay, so I can call myself I can just make up a name and say I support something. And
I know a guy named Phil. This guy is not responsible for what that guy named Phil does.
Yes, Phil Tifa. It's a way better group of, when the KOE Nation takes to the street, Phil Tifa. Nice, I like it.
Even William Barr explained this in his last hearing, where he said Antifa is not like an organized group of people. There's a bunch of different factions, and each faction runs themselves, but they're not all intertwined and organized together. So some are violent, some aren't, some have horrible tactics, some don't, some are fascist themselves and do fascist things and encroach on other people's freedom of speech and freedom of movement and all of these other things. Other groups don't, and they don't care about all that, and that's not their problem. They're like, if I was going to say like my way of being an activist is by coming onto these platforms and explaining this stuff to my viewers, but I'm not out in the streets doing any of the other stuff.
It sounds like you're trying to put levels to righteousness when it comes to a terrorist group.
How?
How
did I put a level on it, though?
You're saying, well, if I support them, but I don't do this or I don't do that, and I don't
support them. I'm saying I said I condemn them and their violence.
But it is kind of true Antifa. Like, what is the true Antifa that we're supporting? If we're saying,
you claim to be Antifa, so
good. So I'm trying to find what is this line of mechanization, because you've even said yourself that you are Antifa, and so I'm wondering what is that line of mechanization? Because what is true Antifa and not true Antifa, if you will?
So this is the way it's explained on their website, and this is the way I explain it to everybody else. It is Antifa is just a label to say you are anti-fascist and you're willing to fight against fascism. How you choose to fight is your own decision. That's that has more to do with you and your group or whoever you're intertwined with. But to just say Antifa is like saying biker gang. Now, there's Hell's Angels, and then there's like the church biker gang. Now, they're both biker gangs, right? But they're different factions. Hell's Angels can do a bunch of horrible stuff and even terrorist sorts of things, but that doesn't mean that the Bible biker gang is now in trouble, or they now have to relinquish the name biker gang because Hell's Angels is a biker gang and does really messed up stuff.
I would argue that I would say 99.99% of biker gangs are pro-America.
That has nothing. I'm using a metaphor to explain to you the difference.
It's a terrible metaphor, Tom. That's all.
I don't think you're understanding. If that's what you got from
No,
it.
I get your analogy. I just think
All
it's
I'm
a
saying
poor
is
one.
it's just a label. That's all I'm saying is it's just a label. Just like biker gang is
It's
a
not a
label.
label.
Antifa, it is. It is. There's a bunch of different factions, and most of them are run inside of colleges, and they all have nothing to do with the other one. None of them are calling each other saying, hey, this week you're supposed to do this, and you're supposed to do that, and this faction's going to do this. That's not how it works. They all have their own things going on in their own factions, and that's it. They're not all intertwined with each other. So there are peaceful Antifa groups, but they don't get news coverage. Nobody cares about them, and so it does like hurt the public perception overall, but it's not a it's not sexy enough for them to get any sort of
name one pro Antifa story even a Democrat has put out.
What?
Name a pro Antifa story.
What does that mean?
Like where they did something good for the community.
Oh, I don't know.
Thank you.
Now,
I didn't say they do good things. For
biker gangs do good shit for communities all the time. So if you want to relate them to a biker gang,
I don't think you're understanding the biker gang reference. I'm saying just as biker gang is a label, but there's different factions
I get it.
No, because you're trying to say that because I use the word biker gang, now they have to do good things for their community just because biker gangs do. That hasn't. So
Antifa doesn't have to do good things for the community. They can just be terrorists, and it's okay. Just because they all have different factions and different beliefs, and they're all terrorists.
You're obviously not understanding. You are obviously
because they claim to be anti-fascist. Because they claim
they as if they're all under one blanket together. They're not related. No one has nothing to do with
you label yourself you are under a blanket.
Label yourself anti-fascist. Now you're
when you label yourself as anything. Phil labels himself as a Republican. I am a nonpartisan. I will not ever again claim to be in any political party. I will never join a group. You know what? Like I've researched Proud Boys. I've researched fucking Antifa. I've looked at all of these groups, and there's a lot of things that I'm like, I agree with some of their sentiment. But you know what? I will not ever join a group of anybody because then I am under that blanket and under that umbrella, and I'm always going to be judged by that umbrella. And you have to understand that no different than a cop or a criminal. If you've been charged with a crime, you're a criminal, right? If you're a cop, you're a fucking blue guy, and you're just as devil as every other goddamn cop that does a bad crime. It's no different. Like we do this too goddamn much. This is identity politics at its worst. You can't do this with Antifa. They're bad.
That's what you're doing. You're saying because they have a label and they're all under the same label, now they're all responsible for each other. That now because
I'm playing by the rules that everybody else is playing by. Yes,
I'm not playing by those rules. I'm saying I don't like identity politics. I don't care about identity politics. I'm explaining just what this means.
Can we do Inception again? We've had identity politics all night.
Give me a second.
You've done identity politics all night. You guys with your electoral college, that's identity politics. Oh, I live in this area.
No, that's freedom. That's freedom.
It's identity politics.
Tom, note that I'll give you a little bit of credit here. You almost got away with it. It was a brilliant piece of intellectual sleight of hand, and you almost got away with it. I have to give you credit. But you tried to set yourself up in a place where there is nothing that could possibly happen that would ever lead you to ever condemn Antifa. Because I
have condemned Antifa. I have. Yurasam was in the comments. Yurasam, please tell them you have heard me
condemn Antifa. And you said it's so different. There's so many multifaceted groups.
No, that's not what he said. He said, what would it take for me to relinquish that label, Antifa? What would it take for me to step away from that label? I have condemned Antifa and their violence 1,000,000 freaking times. Okay,
I would not claim to support them.
Yeah, why?
I don't support them. I personally am anti-fascist.
If you don't,
everybody's anti-fascist. That's like doesn't like. That's like saying I don't like.
Jesus.
That's like saying I don't like to kick.
Like, has anyone ever met an actual, honest to God, pro-fascist? Like,
No.
Let me ask you guys. Hold on. Have you guys ever met somebody who's racist?
Yeah.
Did they tell you, "Hey guys, I'm Tom. I'm racist"?
No, I found out within 5 minutes.
Yes, exactly. Nobody in today's America, you can't introduce yourself this way. And it's the same with fascism. Like, even if you are a fascist, even if you are alt-right, even if you are any of these things, you still can't say that because it's just got such a bad,
Tom,
yeah.
Nobody that's pro-fascist. Nobody.
My point is like saying you're anti-fascist is like saying I don't like to kick puppies.
We all, yeah. So
no. Hold on. There's a difference between not liking fascism and being.
Nobody likes fascism.
Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. Hold on.
Except for Antifa.
Hold on. There's a difference here. Being not liking racism and being anti-racist, those are not the same things. Being anti something means you're willing to fight against it. Being just not liking something means you just don't like it. If you're anti-fascist, it means that you are willing to call out and fight against fascism. That's not the same thing as just not being fascist or not liking fascism. They're not the same thing.
We have this group called Antifa, and you say you are Antifa, but you don't agree with anything any of the groups do. You're not a member of any of the groups or any part of it. So isn't that basically just Antifa in name only? Like, it's not really like if you're not part of the group. Like, so why?
There is no the group.
You're the one that's holding this label of Antifa. You say you are Antifa, and there is in fact a group in this world called Antifa. Do we all?
There's lots of them.
Okay, we all can see that there are groups called Antifa, quite a few of them, and they're committing violent acts in some cases.
Yeah,
and you have condemned every single one of them, as you say. I'm going to take your word for it. I haven't watched. Forgive me, Tom. I have not watched every single precious second of the Tomfoolery show. I know. I'm getting really close, but I'll take you
real quick. Urasama said Tom condemns the violence Antifa does, but he defends the name even though it has been compromised by terrorists. I will agree with that. Listen.
Thank you, Urasama.
Kat all the time says, Tom, you got to stop calling yourself a Christian. Christians in the past have done so many horrible things to people. There have been so many bad things done in the name of Christianity that, like, there's no way that you should still identify with that name. And I tell her, I don't call myself a Christian because of what other people do or what other people related to Christianity have done. I call myself a Christian because of my beliefs, and that's it.
That's actually a very good argument.
That's the best analogy you've made.
But I would still encourage, Christianity's got a very, very complicated past with our society. So to try and boil it